Um, well, first of all, I need to say that it's important to be here in Paris, in France, in this particular period of the history of France and Europe, because we are facing a great challenge in the next election. And I don't know if I'm being politically correct if I say this, but a former chief of state of France said that France is to Europe what sun to the horizon. So if a catastrophe, a political catastrophe in France will have an impact in the whole continent and will suffer quite a lot of the consequences. So I need to be my hope alive in the activists, in the political people who are working hard to stop the national fronts in the next election. I don't want to dramatize, but I think there is an opportunity for the national front. It could happen. I'm not saying that it will happen, but it could happen. So it's time to be tough, it's time to be smart, it's time to be prudent, it's time to be more active than ever, more militant than ever. When it comes to Spain, well, we're supposed to be one of these good students that we keep the right-wing extremists aside. And in some ways it's true. But the question is why? Why do you when Maisons, the Potes make this sondage in Spain, we have this good results? And I think there are many reasons that we can study a little bit that. But first of all, I think that there is one reason, and this is that the right-wing extremists in Spain are a bunch of idiots, if I may say it that way. So, you know, they are much more focused on the school way to be a right-wing extremist, you know, this neo-Nazi violence, brutal way to speak. This is one reason. We have plenty of neo-Nazis or micro-organizations all around the country, very linked to the football thing, the ultras, etc. They are making a big damage to the population, to the diversity people, because we have an important number of hate crimes in the country produced not only for this bunch of idiots, but also for this bunch of idiots. And other reason why, you know, the diversity is more accepted probably is one of the obsession of the right in Spain, the center right and probably the establishment. And it is the obsession is to keep Spain unified. So the focus is not so much in the migrants and so much in terrorists. Of course they are. You know, you have this kind of message like Spanish first, moros fuera, this means Moors out, Moors are terrorists, etc. You have all those shit, of course. But they are much more focused. The obsession now is to fight against independence in Catalonia and Basque country and to keep, you know, to keep the country unified. So the messages are much more put it in that way. It has a good, a positive impact in the fact that in some way racism, xenophobia, and others manifestations of intolerance are a little bit set aside, and they are not much more focused on that message at this time. I have to say that the fight against right-wing extremism soon started after the Second World War, I would say. But in our case, we lived 40 years under a fascist regime, Franco stuff. I would say that the Second World War, the fascists win the war in Spain. They were defeated in the whole continent, but in Spain they win the war. So we were ruled for them for 40 years, which is quite a lot. And I guess it has also an impact in the people. They don't want to come back to some kind of fascist, nationalistic, identitarian stuff again. So it's certainly a way that people keep prevention against to come back to this bunch of idiots that I was mentioned before. I have to say that in 1989, European Parliament issued a report, the fourth report. It was made by the Labourist, a Labour Party member, Lynn Ford, I think was the name, warning about what we are living now. Warning about the increase of the racist attacks, the racist measures, the identitarian message, etc., all around the continent. This, in 1989, the European Parliament proposed a lot of measures in order to tackle that, in order to stop them. And practically, no one measure was taken. And now, 20 years later, almost 20 years later, we have to face these different situations in different countries. It's not the same, for instance, Greeks with the Golden Dawn, which is quite more neo-Nazi supremacist violent stuff, or Jobbik in Hungarian, which is making maths with Fidesz in the government, which is creating an awful situation in Hungary. That is not the same like this new alliance for people in Germany, it has been mentioned before, which is replacing the NPD, the former neo-Nazi. Well, the former, it's not the former, they are still there, but they're replacing in the popularity in Germany for a new way of communication that the right-wing extremists have. And the problem now that we are facing is probably a communication problem in this new era of communication, because I don't know if you are agree with me that the main successful political parties all across Europe, I think National Front included, of course Alliance for People in Germany and others, they are changing the rhetoric, they are hiding the real ideas, they are selling smoke. So I mean, there is a lot of message, it has been mentioned before, between something like, you know, we are the defenders of the people, and this elite of progressive people, they don't have foreigners or migrants, neighbors, they don't suffer that. They want you to suffer that. So we are with you, not this elite of people who doesn't care about all these problems in the ghettos, in the districts, etc. So the rhetoric has changed in a very impactful way, in a very, for them I would say very persuasive and very intense way. So this is why some of the reasons for why they are gaining some kind of power. So. Going to answer the question of the title of this panel, how to stop the offensive of the right-wing extremists. I guess there are four things that have been mentioned, not on this panel, but before, that we as an organization have been making for 25 years, and I think, I'm not going to say something new, but I think a summation of that in order to put it into the table. First of all, education, and I'm talking as an NGO, I mean, a civil society organization. I'm talking about the state, from the state, or talking as a strategic, as an activist. Education. But education is a crucial point in this. I am not saying nothing new. The thing is, what is the prime value that it has been to be promoted? It needs to be promoted in the schools. In our view, it's a polemic concept. It is tolerance. There has been a lot of debate about the tolerance. What it means to be tolerant. Tolerance is accept what you don't like. Tolerance is something which is very good, and accepting something bad because he's tolerating that. This is not the tolerance. And I think this debate on tolerance, which is to has a negative impact in promoting an imprescindible value in the fight that we are having now, which is the accepting, which is the respect, of course, and which is more important, inclusive, even more important, the appreciation, the love for diversity, because tolerance is a proactive, it's a militant word, it's something to be much more than respect, much more than accept, it is appreciated. So I'm not going into the methodology of education things. It is for 100 seminars. But I mean, the value to be promoted, the appreciation for diversity. You know, I think all these kind of permanent school activities, because we are reaching thousands of people, it has an impact on the education community, of course, or in some way shaping the predominant value, which has an impact. Communication, really important. And communication, it is about to be in the media, of course. It is about to be the social media, of course, in this moment much more. But it is about to build a speech, to have a discourse, to build a narrative, a useful narrative to dismantle this bunch of lies, this bunch of tricks that the right-wing extremists is using in order to reach people. In my recommendation, it's important to use the proper word to define the proper bubble. So we are not talking about discrimination. There are a lot of discrimination, for sure. We're talking about hatred. We're talking about, because, you know, it is about people who are suffering, people who are attacked, people whose life is in danger because of this hatred all around. So it's a different battle. The discrimination is unequal treatment. Of course, you have to fight against discrimination. We have laws, we have things, but we are fighting against hatred, intolerance. You know, something that could burn our societies, our welfare system, our democracy. This is the battle that we are having. So, in the construction of the speech, I think it needs to be absolutely clear about what we are facing, because you know this soft wave of communication of the new strategy of the right-wing extremism is exactly the game that they have. The goal that they have is to reduce, you know, the anxiety about what we are facing. So we need to recover, you know, these militant activists with the clear words, the clear rhetoric, in order to stop them. Before we have a panel about integration, a word that I don't like, of course not assimilation, building community is a key issue. Building community. We need identities, dynamic identities, who shaping by the influence of our new brothers and sisters who live with us. So I mean, we will have to fight against these close identities that are damaged. And now I'm going to say something, because in Catalonia is the place where the right-wing extremism has the best impact in the Spanish democracy. Complete something called Plataforma per Catalunya, which is a small political country, which has something like 75,000 votes close to Barcelona area. The big success that the right-wing extremist has from the electoral vote. I'm finished, don't worry. Why? Why in these places? Why in Catalonia? Why not in Madrid or in I don't know, Galicia or Sevilla or whatever? Because you know, the Catalan government has controlled the educational system for almost 35 years, and they educational concept in order to build a close identity of what it means to be a Catalan is very close. And this close identity is more easy for the right-wing extremists to attack, but they have a very close idea of what identity is. And now just for finish, I just gonna repeat what I said before, because I think it's important. This is gonna be my last word. It's time to be more proactive, more tough, more smarter, more aggressive in our speech, more convinced and more militant in the values that have shaped our societies. They are the human rights values for a long time. Thank you very much, and I'm here for